Morning, everybody. Doing a quick video before we head out. Day 3 of the Vampire Diaries convention. Don't laugh, don't judge. It's actually a really good show. Ignore what you think you know about it. Oh, it's made for teenage girls. It's actually a really good show. Good actors and good characters. It's kind of funny. But getting to hang out with Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley on Friday night doing a bourbon tasting and dinner and stuff. Those are the guys that started Brothers Bond Bourbon Company, which is a fantastic, legit bourbon. Check it out. And then yesterday I had breakfast, my wife and I, with Matt Davis, a really cool actor, funny as fuck. Had a really good time sitting with like 15 people in a room, sitting next to the dude, just bullshitting about anything and everything for an hour. Anyway, going to do that today again. So wanted to do this. I got this one in the mail yesterday. And so I like doing budget knives. I like doing budget things. And I like some nicer things. But, you know, I think the mass appeal of the budget line a lot of times is a wider audience. And I think there's more value to be had there. So let us say you need a watch. You need a decent watch that's got to last you a while. You're on a real budget. You can't spend more than $100 out the door, taxes, shipping, and it can't be junk. You know, yeah, there's homages and fake Rolexes and things you could buy, but you need something that has a warranty. You need something that has proven and, well, actually, you know, should stand up. Here's my recommendation. And I'm doing a review of this, an overview, as well as my recommendation video, kind of all in one. I'm going to kill two birds with one stone just to save time. I think that you need to consider a Casio G-Shock. There's a whole bunch of different ones, and I'll tell you why I think this one is the best value. I've got this one. I think this is the 9300 01. It's part of the Mudmaster or something series. It's got solar power, and it's got a compass and altimeter and some other things. No, not altimeter. That one has compass and what does it have? Compass and temperature. And then I've got my Casio, which is a nice hybrid analog digital. You know, it's a cool little watch. Definitely a cool little watch. They both got backlights. They're both solar powered. This one, I think, is probably the best watch under $100 you can buy. You would say, well, what if I want an analog? We'll cover that. This thing is $80, which Amazon taxes or whatever, you know, sales tax, it's going to be like under $90. I want to say it's going to be like $88. I'll put a link. This is the 6900-1, and I'll tell you why I think this is the best. This watch, if you want something that's quality, Casio. Casio's a quality name. They have good warranty. They make really good watches. They make watches that are $20. They make watches that are $6,000. They are a legit, proper Japanese watch company. What I like about this one in general is there's a good aftermarket support for this. If you want to take off this plastic ring that covers the top and offers some of the protection and replace it with different colors, or you scratch it and you just need to replace that, you can buy replacement parts for these things. You can change the colors. You can add different bands to it. If you want to get a metal cover or something like that, you can do all that kind of stuff. But here's also the functionality. For $100, you're getting a proven quality timepiece, which right out of the gate has a 200-meter water resistance, which is phenomenal. You don't have to worry about it getting magnetized. You don't have to worry about getting water, mud, any of that stuff on it. It's shockproof. You could drop this off the top of a ladder. It'll hit the concrete and probably scratch the plastic and keep right on going like nothing happened. This has the screen, the black part of the screen is a solar cell. So it is constantly, anytime there's a light source, it is recharging that battery, which should last you 15 to 20 years. It's digital, so you don't have to worry about setting the date at the end of the month if it's a short month like you do on an analog. It has a stopwatch. You have different 48 time zones. You have a backlight, and this backlight, you can set how long, 1 second, 3 seconds, and there's a setting to make it so that in the dark, if you rotate your wrist to look at it, it automatically turns the light on. You have world time. You can set alarms. You have a stopwatch that goes down to hundredths of a second. You have a timer. I could set a 10-minute timer because or whatever it is, 3 hours. I got something slow cooking on the barbecue. Go ahead and set a timer. These are features that analog watches don't have. I know analog watches look nicer and look more classy, but if you just need a watch, you're a guy who gets stuff done. You want something durable. You could wear it water skiing. You want to go hunting. You're out doing work on the yard or on the farm or something like that. You can still wear it in the office. Here's the thing about the G-Shocks. They're incredible value for money. And because they're so purposely built and well built, even though these models are not fancy, watch snobs tend to respect the G-Shock. They realize that in the world of timekeeping, these are good, reliable, rugged, hell and they're back again designs. And yeah, you might want Rolex or Tudor or some of the fancy brands and stuff, and you might, you wouldn't wear this as your dress watch or with a tux. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't wear a tux and doesn't need a dress watch, you just need a freaking watch. You need a workhorse. You need something that is going to be there for you, that you can buy it once, spend $100, and this watch should last you decades before you got to crack that open and replace the solar cell. This is just a fantastic freaking watch. Anytime you have it in a light source, it's automatically charging, especially if it's out in sunlight. It's automatically charging and keeping that battery topped off. And that battery will stay running. If you put this in a drawer, as soon as, like at night, when you turn the, when the lights go out, it goes into power saving mode. After a minute or two, the display will shut off, saving power. This thing will go months and months and months sitting in a box. So if you live in a cave and there's no light, your watch will work for months. And as soon as you're out in the sunlight or normal daylight or even a flashlight, it'll just start charging itself again. To get a watch with 200-meter water resistance and that you'll never have to, for any practical purposes, you're never going to have to open to replace batteries or have to sit there winding it, or if you don't wear it every day and it's an automatic watch. Like I got 4 or 5 nice automatic watches, Seikos and some Paganis, and I got a couple other ones too. The problem with them is, if you don't wear them for a day or two because just don't grab your watch, the power reserve is only 30 hours and it runs out. And then when you pick it up, you're like, oh, it's the wrong date and time. So now I got to futz with it. Then I got to wind it up. Then I got to shake it or do whatever to get it start self-winding. This is literally just a set it and forget it. You could wear it, shower with it, jump in the pool. Like you could go diving with this. This is a legit, robust, proper watch. I like the fact that they have the button on the front. So in the dark, you can feel it. You never go, wait, is it this button? Or, because on some of these, they're not always the same button for the light. I think this is a better watch, but this is also $220. This is a Casio. I think this one was like $120. But if you want a watch that, and I also do dig the 90s retro vibe. This is an iconic classic watch. Yes, it's not a Rolex. Yes, it's not a Breitling. That's okay. Not everybody wants one of those. And if you have $7,000 to $30,000 to spend on a watch, you're probably not going to jump in the pool with it. You're probably not going to wear it while you're out wrenching in the garage. That's another thing. With a metal watch, even if you have a watch that's not that expensive, you're doing something and it bangs into I don't have to worry about scratching the paint on the car or the bike. There's nothing on here that's sharp. The only thing that's metal is that. Everything else is this resin plastic, which you can go, oh, it looks cheap. Well, it is, but it's also extremely robust. It's very tough. It's because it's slightly rubbery that dampens forces and impacts. This is just a really good watch. Now, if you say, look, I'm just not sold on the chunky, and this is not that big. I mean, doing a size comparison with these other ones, it's in the middle between the Casio. It's just a little bit bigger than the Casio, but not terribly so. I feel like that's kind of a sweet spot for a lot of people. The Casio is a little bit more slim. But it's not a beast like this Mudmaster thing or whatever that thing is. Master of Mud, I don't know, whatever it is. But you don't get quite as much mud resistance as you do with those types of buttons. But you can also feel these buttons, and these ones are really kind of stiff, so you got to really press them. This, I think, is the sweet spot. Under $100. It's a really cool, not vintage look, although, I guess 90s is starting to get 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I guess it is I'm getting old. The 90s is definitely starting. I guess the 90s music is starting, 80s and 90s is now coming up as classic rock. So I just think that's awesome. Having all those features packed into a device. It's your alarm clock. It's a timer. It's got world time. If you travel, you can set it for whatever other city you're in and stuff like that, but still see how time it is back home. You got a backlight, and that 200-meter water resistance in a watch in this price point. Like, and that's a legit 200-meter water resistance. You don't have to worry about this watch. This watch is so over-engineered. It's comfortable, it's iconic, and it's cheap. Now, if you wanted something a little fancier, now you may not care for the NATO strap, but this came with a rubber strap that was a little bit more like that. They also make one in with metal bracelets, and this comes in at under $100 too. It's another one from Casio, and it's a dive style watch with a rotating bezel, and it does have the date, and this one has a 200-meter water resistance, and it's a screw down crown. Like, this is a legit watch. And honestly, on the metal bracelet, this thing looks pretty fancy, and you can get green dial, you can get different colored dials and stuff. I personally would go with the bracelet with the Pepsi. If you want a watch that's $85 plus tax, you come in just under that $100 mark. This, I happen to really like NATO straps lately. Don't know why, they just really appeal to me. But you look at that, that is a fantastic looking watch, whether you like my color combination or not. I think it looks good with the blue. But you look at that and go, that is a much more expensive watch. But it's a Casio, it'll take a beating, 200-meter water resistance, go diving in the pool, go splash it with salt water, work in the yard, things like that. Just be careful if you're working around the car. It is metal, so you could bang into something and scratch something. And it might not have the shock protection of the G-Shocks, but for folks that don't want to spend a ton of money, but you just want something good, I think looks nicer. That's certainly a little bit more business casual. Might even get away with it on a suit if you as a stretch. But having the versatility of all that features and functionality and never having to really change the battery, just having a backlight, what's better than that? There's some Timexes that are okay in that price range, but trying to find a Timex under $100 that has a true 200-meter water resistance, which is what you want. If you want a watch that can take anything, if it's going to be your only watch, you don't have to, when you got multiple watches, you're like, well, I have this one if I go swimming or go to the beach. I got this one for work. I got this one if I have to go to a wedding. Yeah, you have a whole bunch of different watches. Like, you have different shoes or different shirts and pants and things like that for different occasions, right? You don't wear cargo shorts and t-shirts to everything. I mean, most of us don't. But that's the model 6900-1. It's under $100, and it is an absolutely fantastic watch that does everything. And the fact that you never have to change the battery, you never have to wind it, you set the date once, and it's got a perpetual calendar to the year like 2100 or something. By the time that becomes an issue, you will no longer be on the planet. Not because you're going somewhere to like another planet, because you'll be dead. So unless you're 1 year old when you're watching this. But that is my vote for the best watch under $100 that even a watch snob won't scoff at. They'll go, man, it's cheap, but hey, it's a G-Shock, man. G-Shocks rule. I think that that's a fantastic option. More so than these. I mean, these are nicer, but then you're going to creep up into the, in price. So we're going for maximum bang for the buck. How do you get a super versatile, feature-rich watch with heritage, with respect, that's a proven design and solar powered and never have to worry about changing the battery, at least not for a couple decades? 6900-1. So this is the GW model. And this watch is also, so not only is it solar, it's also set by, it has a radio in it, and it accepts, I think it's out of Fort Collins in the US. There's a couple of these stations around the world in the Northern Hemisphere that send out a coded radio signal, I think at midnight. And so that radio signal is synchronized to an atomic clock. You never have to set the time on this, just set your time zone. That's it. So not only do you not have to charge it, it charges automatically. Now you don't have to change batteries. You don't have to wind it. You set the date and time once, and this watch will just keep running for the next couple decades with zero maintenance. Zero setting of the time. Like, oh, it's been a couple months, I'm 2 minutes fast. No, this is set to an atomic clock every night, automatically in the background. It just does that with 200-meter water resistance and all this shock protection. How the hell do you beat that? It may not be the prettiest watch, but so what? It's a tool. This is a tool watch. This is a working man's utilitarian, get shit done kind of watch for less than $100 shipped to your door. The Casio G-Shock, GW. G as in George, W as in, well, W. I don't know if there's any other letters that sound like that. So I think we got it. We'll put the link in there to Amazon. But what a fantastic value. That is serious value. And it's got serious cool, it's got street cred. It's a G-Shock. And it's one of the most iconic 90s G-Shocks. How can you go wrong? Anyway, I got to go get ready, feed dogs, take a shower, and go down for the last day of the fan panels down at the Vampire Diaries convention. I'll be home later this afternoon. So there you go, folks. Chew on that.